Hi everybody, it's Michael Fox here from the Little Metal Dog Show and the UK Gaming Media Network here at the UK Games Expo 2012, and I'm joined now, privileged to be joined by the director of Mayfair Games, Mr. Larry Roznai. Good morning, Larry, how are you doing?
Good morning, I'm awake.
You're awake, you've been travelling, haven't you? You've been all over the place.
I've been in Europe all week, so it's been a very much of a roundabout, shall we say, to finally get here at the end, and finally going home tomorrow.
Good stuff. Yeah, because you've got Origins next week, haven't you?
I leave on Tuesday morning for Origins. It's going to be a delightful little trip.
Well, what's your impressions of the UK Games Expo? This is your second year here now, isn't it?
Second year that we've been here, and after last year's experience, we decided to up the ante a bit and do an official sponsorship of the show.
Yep.
To help them with the tournament, our Settlers of Catan tournament, and anything else they might need. And I don't know if it, obviously it helped a little bit. I don't know if it helped a whole bunch for these guys, but the attendance yesterday was insane. People walking around, lots of people having fun, and I see today is starting out very well as well, and folks have made a rather successful little show here.
Cool. What was your decision to take that jump then, to officially get involved with the show?
Well, as you know, we have the Settlers of Catan license for English language, which includes England, Australia, etc., etc., etc. And we have a belief that we need to support the folks that are doing the shows, that are having the tournaments, to promote our game, and also to try and assist the people who are running these tournaments in actually sending somebody to wherever we happen to be holding the World Championships. This year we happen to be holding them, it's our turn, we're holding them in Pennsylvania in September, and so part of our sponsorship and everything else goes along to helping to offset the cost of the airfare for the contestants that are coming over to the States. So this year, last year's tournament winner and this year's tournament winner from UK Games Expo will be in Philadelphia in September, competing with at least 30 plus other people from around the world for the title of World Champion.
Fantastic stuff. So what's your impressions of the show between last year and this year? Have you noticed any differences?
Well, it's much more crowded, or so it seemed, and
that might just be the tiredness kicking in.
Yeah, no, I don't know about that. It's just that, like yesterday, last year I got here about the same time as I did this year, and it was a bit busy and all that. But yesterday, when I walked in here, it was literally trying to knife through the crowd wherever we could to just look around a bit and see what's going on. The traders all seem to be doing very well. The demo tables seem to be filled all over the place. So it's a sign of a very good and growing show.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think it's a sign of a good and growing market as well. Because I mean, obviously, if we take it down a sort of political and economic thing for a little bit, it's we have this time of austerity around us.
Oh yeah.
How is Mayfair coping? Are you noticing a big change in your bottom line at the moment?
We're noticing a little bit of an adjustment, shall we say?
Right.
But on the same token, we're dealing with a changing market as our products, and not just Catan, but as all of our products start becoming more successful and more into the, shall we say, public eye, the non-gamers, the civilians.
I see, because you guys are getting stuff into big box stores now.
We're starting to get into some of the big box stores and this and that, and that's been a rather successful program. So while servicing those guys, we still can't forget about the folks that brought us here, the regular hobby retailers across the world that have supported us over all these years. We still try and take care of them on some level or another, but we have to be, paying attention to the changing market. So want to keep on reprinting games. You can't sell the same game to the same person more than once, maybe twice, but not much more than that.
See, I've had a couple of worn-out copies of Settlers of Catan, it must be said, so you've got to replace them eventually.
Exactly. I know people that got a copy of every single edition that we've had so far, so it's because they have to have everything.
Blimey. Okay, well, Larry, you've been in the industry for some time.
I've been hanging around for about 22 years.
Yeah, a little bit. So where do you see it going over the next couple of years? What stuff like the impact of iOS games, so people playing on iPads and things, do you think that's going to cut into the market? Do you think it's going to help it?
There's been this back and forth, okay? Go back about 10 years or so, and everybody was doing the computer console thing. And what you just said about iPads, blah, 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 was being said back then about playing on the computer, okay? And what you initially see is you see a little bit of a dip or this and that, but ultimately they realize that it's really no fun sitting in front of a computer by yourself playing a game, and even if you're playing with people, you're still sitting in front of a computer by yourself. So there was a dip in the computer stuff, and then people came back. I see the eye phenomena as something a little bit different. There's a number of game companies, and ourselves included a little bit down the road, that are creating iPad apps, iApps, whatever, for enhancement of gameplay, as opposed to a separate game, which is something that you really couldn't do with the computer console, because everyone's got their phone on their belt or in their purse or in their pocket, and they can sit down and play a game and pull out their iPhone or their Droid or whatever, and, I got the Catan app, so I'm going to pull the Catan app up, and I'm going to use that to enhance my gameplay. Okay, I don't know exactly what we're going to do with that, but there's going to be something. And I see a lot of other companies doing that as well. Not just a version of the game, but some kind of accessory.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, I know Fantasy Flight are very much into that.
Yeah.
You've got their Arkham Horror little pack thing, which you can track sanity.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see what you guys come up with.
Or something just as simple as a dice rolling program as part of the app.
Yeah.
Okay. So there you go. And I see a day where perhaps although I don't know, I don't want to say it's overboard, but I see a day where it's possible that there'll be a number of people playing a game, and every single one of them's got their iPad or iPhone or Droid out there, and then somehow the phones are linked to each other, and it becomes a synergistic kind of thing where the game plus the app or plus the app ends up making the experience better.
Cool. Where do you see? You've heard obviously Will Wheaton's got his show Tabletop.
Yes, and we supported
I know.
that.
Yeah, I was going to ask, are you guys supporting that? Because I know Settlers is on episode 4.
2.
2?
Episode 2. They started off with Small World and followed up with Catan. And then he did the little mini one where he had like 3 games. We ended up sending them a package of stuff for their guest gifts and so on and so forth.
Cool. Did they come to you? Did you go to them?
Sort of sideways. They came to us through one of their minions.
Right.
Okay. And I expect, actually, he's going to be himself and
Felicia.
Thank you, Felicia Day are going to be at Origins next week. So I hope to end up hooking up with them. We got some time scheduled. VIP gaming session where I think he's going to come over to our room and play.
Cool.
And I expect to get a chance to discuss a few things with him and everything else, and just see how we can further help to promote what it is that he's doing. I mean, he's getting a couple of 100,000 views.
Yeah, which is fantastic. Yeah,
it's worth
definitely.
the effort.
I mean, do you see that? In my opinion, I think that's only going to grow. I mean, the Geek and Sundry set of programs that he contributes to is growing and growing and growing, and I'm hoping that that's going to see a great impact on the industry as well.
Well, if you've got 250 or 300,000 people watching Will Wheaton play games with a bunch of other celebrities, whether they be minor, major, or otherwise, they're behind-the-scenes people, writers, producers, and so on and so forth. And it's not just the geeks watching this; it's the other geeks. It's the Star Trek geeks. It's the Will Wheaton geeks. Okay, and they're like, they look like they're having a good time. So maybe we should go ahead and try this game out once or twice, or go to a show and try something out, and then perhaps even buy it.
Did you see it? Did you see any spikes in Settlers of Catan?
It's hard to measure that because of the volume that we have. The truer test would be if he would play a Mayfair game other than Catan, and see what ultimately happens.
What would you like to see on that shiny geek chic table?
Well, I'd really like him to see or try our upcoming game, which is Empire Express. Okay. Which is
this is the stripped down version of Empire Builder.
Well, it's a stripped down version of Empire Builder. It's basically the Northeast United States, over to Chicago and down to about North Carolina. But down to about North Carolina, and we got a fixed start for each player, and they start the game with no money and a certain amount of track and 3 pre-programmed cards. Right. So, and a basic instruction of, okay, you're player number 1, you're starting in Boston, your train is going to start wherever it's in Pittsburgh, and you're going to take steel to Boston as your first drop, and so on. We basically tell them what their first couple of turns are going to be, so that they don't have to sit there and get stuck up in this analysis paralysis thing, where it is difficult to get started when you get 9 contracts and so on and so
Yeah,
forth.
I mean, the original Empire Builder, it's very freeform. It can be terrifying.
My first game of Empire Builder that I played in 1989, we had 6 people. It took us 6 hours. But I ultimately fell in love with it. Now we're down to a half an hour per person. We play with 2 trains and 4 cards, and every variant we can come up with. But then again, we do design the game, and so therefore we play with all the extras.
Cool.
Nice. So this ought to be pretty fun.
Nice. What other stuff have you got coming up then? Obviously, Essen is a bit further down the track.
Essen's a bit further down. For Essen, we've got finally our English language version of Catan Europe, and coming up in the next few weeks, we have Aeroplanes by Martin Wallace, which was supposed to be here, but unfortunately didn't get made in time, but that's a whole other issue. The wonderful things you have to deal with as a game company. We have our reissue of A House Divided, which has been a very popular Civil War game. And of course, this being the period of the 150th anniversary of the Civil War, we started out last year with Test of Fire, Bull Run, 1861. Now we're this year in I think about 3 to 4 weeks, we'll be publishing Shiloh, A Clash of Wills, 1862. So we plan on publishing a game in that particular one-on-one system, 1 game a year on 1 specific battle, going all the way to the end in 1865.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Interesting stuff.
So that's the next couple of things that are going to be coming out.
Nice one. Anything else in the pipeline that we might get to know about?
We've got Urbania coming up here, I think, in about 2 months. I don't remember the author. I apologize to whoever he was. It's basically about building up a city, fighting with zoning councils and things of that nature, and a little bit of fun of that nature. And that pretty much wraps up our year at the moment. Next year we'll be looking at doing another Jean Benet's games and Garden early in the year. We're trying to come up with a couple of more lighter games every year in a sort of a subcategory called Funfair.
All right, cool.
Okay. This year's releases were Rocket Jockey and Whitewater.
Played Whitewater and Rocket Jockey.
Right. We come out, as you know, they're a little bit lighter. They're a little bit more fun. Okay. And so we're looking at, those are always going to come out in the beginning of the year because of the show, the trade shows that we go to, like New York Toy Fair, Nuremberg Toy Fair, where the trade is coming and they want to see the new stuff. And so we want to come out with the lighter titles earlier in the year and then get more into the gamers games
as the year progresses
as the other show season starts with Origins, Gen Con, UK Games Expo, Australia Games Expo, which we also sponsor. So, I mean, right now we're co-sponsors of Origins, Gen Con, UK Games Expo, and Australia.
Spreading out across the world.
Well, when you've got the English language rights to the product, you have to think outside of America. It's not just America. I mean, we speak American. You guys speak English. I mean, so it's really all good. So we have to be responsible to support all these folks in the other English-speaking countries of the world. Not just being American-centric or North American-centric. So.
Well, Larry, as always, it's a pleasure to catch up with you. It's fantastic to see you over here, and hopefully we'll catch up with you again next time.
Yeah, I expect so. I expect that we will probably continue our sponsorship of the Games Expo. I'm looking very much forward to the new venue next year, seeing how that should go, so people might actually be able to walk around without bumping into everybody.
That would be good.
And hopefully it'll just continue to grow.
Fantastic.
So, thank you very much.